Hello, ladies, and welcome back to Thursday Morning Connect Group. I'm so honored that you are making this a priority in your life. I know just because I live with Mary, she's my wife, and I know how much she loves Thursday morning, how passionate she is about it, how much joy you bring to her life. So I'm thankful as a husband, I'm thankful as a pastor, and I really do pray that your group continues to grow in size and also in closeness to each other so that this can be a huge support, not just to your lives, but to all the people that you touch, from your friendships to your relationships to your families. And so I'm honored that you make this a priority, and I'm going to encourage you to continue to do that. Continue to reach out to each other, encourage each other through email, Facebook, text messages, phone calls, write hand letters. I just encourage you in every way to connect to each other. So let's do a quick review of this past Sunday's message. We concluded chapter 6, and where we're going to leave off until we come back in January of 2015 to pick up in Luke. And what we were concluding is a sermon that Jesus had been giving, that we looked at over 5 weeks. And at the end of the message, Jesus asked a question, and the reason he asked this question is to expose really some absurdity in our lives or some behavior that we're doing that is illogical. Jesus says, "Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and not do what I say?" Sounds like a simple statement, and oftentimes in Jesus' teaching it's that way. He says a simple statement, but as we break it down, we realize what he's asking is so much deeper than that. Jesus is saying, if you're going to speak with your mouth and maybe even intellectually think you believe this, that he is Lord as in a person of authority, but to even go further, that he is the Messiah, that he is God, he's saying, if you believe this is true, that I'm the Lord, why wouldn't you obey me? Or why don't you obey me in the areas that I've commanded for you? See, think about it. He's saying, if you believe that I have all power as Lord, I have all knowledge as Lord, and even in the context that we understand that he loves us, he's all loving, he's saying, what would cause you not to obey? I mean, I want you to think about that. If an all-loving, all-knowing, all-powerful God commands you to do something, what could possibly trump that? And this is what Jesus is asking. He's saying, guys, why in the world would you not obey knowing that I am Lord, or even confessing with your mouth that I'm Lord? And we looked at this past Sunday, we said, the reason this is absurd in our lives is because to claim he is Lord and not obey, what we realize is, one, that doesn't save us. Just to call and say, hey, I believe Jesus is God is not enough. I mean, James makes it clear. James says even the demons believe that Jesus is God and they're not saved. And James goes on to define what saving faith is. It is faith, a belief in Jesus, but it's a belief that leads toward obedience and toward actions. We're not saved by actions. We can never earn the favor of God. But he's saying if you truly believe Jesus is real, it will lead to obedience. That's how you know that you truly believe that Jesus is real. And this is even what Jesus said. He said, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will be saved. He said, many will call upon my name, but he never knew them. What he's saying is many people simply stopped at confessing that Jesus is Lord without allowing that to impact their life into obedience. And so we looked at first that it doesn't save us. And then the second part we looked at is that it also does not prepare you for the storm of life. See, all of us know this. At some point, we're going to experience a storm of life. At some point, something's going to come against us that's going to try to wound us or hurt us or destroy us or limit us. I mean, this is just the reality of a broken world. And Jesus says, if you don't actually cross over into obedience, you will not be prepared for that moment. See, the illusion is that we can all intellectually prepare, just kind of have some head knowledge and be prepared for the storm. But Jesus says, no, the only person who's truly prepared is the person who walks in obedience. So obedience prepares us for the storm. He says, actually, the person that doesn't actually thinks they're prepared. They're the ones who still build a house, still live in that house, still expect to survive the storm, he says, but when the storm comes, it destroys their lives. And how many people's lives are destroyed? Because they never learn to walk in obedience and really learn to trust in Jesus. So as I was thinking about this and how it applies to you as ladies, and as I talked this over with my wife, here's what I realized. I'm going to make a huge assumption, but I think it's one that is very accurate of women. Your lives are completely full right now. I'm just going to speak this as a perspective, and I hope I never come across condescending because I don't mean it to be in any way. But my experience is that the typical lady is one who packs their life full of things to do. And it's always out of a good heart. I mean, I don't know anyone that just enjoys being busy for the sake of busy. But typically, you want to take care of people that are around you. You want to experience a lot. And so you just pack your life full. Maybe when you retire, maybe in older age, as you get some wisdom, you learn to settle that and relax it. But my experience is most women just pack their lives full of stuff. So the problem with that, though, is that when your lives are full of stuff, when Jesus calls you to do something, so when Jesus says, you call me Lord, Lord, but you don't do what I say, when Jesus is asking you to do something, the only way that a lady can truly walk in obedience is to be willing to then say no to some other things that are in her life. So there are things that maybe they're not sin. Now, if they're sin, obviously we need to say no to them. We know that. We get that intellectually and spiritually. But there are some things in our lives that Jesus calls us to do which compete with things in our lives that we just simply want to do. So how do we determine what we're going to release and what we're going to surrender? And how do we get to that point? Well, here's where the struggle is for most people, and specifically talking to you as ladies, is the struggle is they're good things, but they're things that you have to release for greater things. They're things you have to release so you can experience what Jesus has for you. And here's where it gets such a tense struggle in your life, is that you have to release control. And you have to allow the standard of what is success in your life to be defined by Jesus. See, most women will define success in their lives in comparison to other ladies. It's a natural tendency. So you look at your house in comparison to other houses. You look at the way that you handle your family in comparison to other families. You look at how you look, how you dress, or how your body looks in comparison to other ladies, how you cook in comparison to other ladies. But there has to come a point when you say, Jesus, I trust you enough to allow you to set the standard for my life. Jesus, I trust you and what you're commanding me to do, that if I walk in obedience, I'm truly going to experience the full life. But in that process, what you're saying is, Jesus, I need you to help me with my pride. I need you to help me with my time management. I need you to help me with wisdom so I can decide what I want to surrender. So this is what I want you to discuss today in your groups, is what are the things in your life that Jesus is calling you to do, and what has to be given up in order to walk in obedience? And how can you release control and allow Jesus to define for you what success is, and how you can release control so that you can experience what true faith is with Jesus? I pray your group has a great discussion. As you know, I love you. I'm so proud of you. And as a pastor, I'm telling you, I'm thankful that we have godly women in our church to be such a strong foundation for so many of our ministries. I hope you have a wonderful group, and I'll see you at one of our weekend services.